I want to talk about some money numbers here and then bring in my next guest because in the last 6 months of 2023, the Trump campaign, of course, that's, before you get into the heart of the campaign season, the Trump campaign brought in $58 million in the last 6 months of 2023. In the first 24 hours following these verdicts of these business records case, whatever this thing was in New York, almost $55 million. As of Friday night, the number was $71 million. My next guest says he's heard that it's significantly higher than that. Pete Hoekstra with me. Pete, good to have you back, of course, former U.S. Ambassador to the Netherlands in the House for 18 years and now the chair of the Michigan Republican Party, key swing state. You heard the numbers north of $80 million, I understand, and it could be close to $100 million by now. Who knows, right?
That's exactly right, Steve. As we were talking, I was thinking, boy, it would have been great if the MIGOP had brought in the same amount or proportionally the same amount of money in the last, 96 hours?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I've heard that the number, again, press reports, not from the Trump team, but the number is, right around 80 million. And, that number is now probably 12 to 24 hours old. And so, you're absolutely right. We could be going north of $80 million. Now, the bad thing here is what happened to President Donald Trump is still an abomination. I think his response has been spot on. We're gonna get our revenge, but we're gonna get our revenge by being successful, by winning the November election, by bringing prosperity back to the American people. And by restoring law and order to the United States of America. So,
the best revenge for him is being successful by winning back the White House. That's the best revenge, and that's exactly what he's saying. He's not terribly concerned about revenge per se. And here's the thing, and I talked about this the day after the convictions. And look, these were predetermined as far as I can tell. They really were. The way the judge explained the rules, it doesn't matter what he's guilty of. If you think he's guilty of anything, then he's guilty, right? That's basically what it was. But I hope that Donald Trump, when he gets back in the Oval Office, exercises restraint because we don't want it to be tit for tat. Now, some out there say we need to burn the earth down. We need to go after Democrats. And maybe there's some truth to that, but only people that are guilty. Only people that are guilty, Pete. I don't want this ongoing. I don't want America to be this back and forth range war of politics for the rest of my life. I want to get past this as they got past it with Watergate at some point, as they get past this with Bill Clinton at some point. We need to move forward and get back to running America, don't we?
Absolutely. But, the one thing you're saying, the tit for tat, it's like, Donald Trump has now faced this for 3 election cycles in a row.
Oh, since 2015, really?
Yeah, 2015, 2016, going into 2017, when James Comey and James Clapper, the FBI director and the director of national intelligence, met with him early in January of 2017 as he was headed to the White House to talk about the seriousness of the Steele dossier, the information linking him to Russia. Of course, a number of months we find out what? The Steele dossier was a campaign document from Hillary Clinton that was used by the FBI inappropriately to get search warrants and the authority to wiretap the Trump campaign. 2020, we have 51 intelligence professionals who come out and say the Hunter Biden laptop, that is classic Russian disinformation. People, including, I think, Anthony Blinken and others in this administration.
And they all knew they were lying, Pete. They all knew they were lying. Go on.
Yeah, and they all knew they were lying. And so now we get to 2024 and we see the most sophisticated, attack on Donald Trump through our court system with a bogus case set up with, this prosecuting attorney in New York City in a district where Donald Trump would never get a fair trial. So, Donald Trump had the opportunity to go after Hillary Clinton. This is the woman who had a server in her basement. You talk about secret documents being used inappropriately or stored inappropriately. He didn't. What he did is he ran America, and we were very, very prosperous. You just go on and on. And I think Donald Trump is on the right path. We in Michigan are saying exactly the same thing. Our revenge is winning the state of Michigan for Donald Trump, winning the presidency and restoring order back to our country and restoring prosperity back to America.
Right. And, you know, the people in the White House currently and in Joe Biden's circle like to say, well, you know, the world wants Joe Biden to be president. Apparently the Saudi Arabians don't. They just announced here that they're going to keep the constriction on oil production. They want to keep oil tight and prices high. There's only one reason they do that, Pete, because they can make a lot of money if they open up the spigot, but they want to keep it tight because they don't want Joe Biden. They don't want a war on fossil fuels. They want Donald Trump and some semblance of normalcy and sanity to return to the White House, don't they?
Absolutely. And so what will Joe Biden's response be? Take more oil out of the strategic oil.
Well, is there any left?
Reserve, right? Because we are in a crisis. Yeah. He'll drain that thing almost down rather than opening up American production, American independence. Rather than an above all strategy, it's kind of like, I have one strategy, Joe Biden says, and that is green energy. EVs don't work. Solar, that's okay. Yeah, wind is perfect when it's blowing at exactly the right miles per hour. That's our future. We're all paying the price. It's time
Absolutely.
for Joe Biden to go home.
Let me ask you this, Pete. I mean, it's still to shake out. My take on this is Joe Biden could get a bump in the polls from people that don't pay a lot of attention, just see Trump convicted, that were potentially could be influenced by the outcome. But overall, I think, that we're still, 5.5 months away from the election. I still think the price of groceries and gas and electricity and kitchen table issues are going to hold the day unless there's some big event in between here and there, which is always possible. I don't think this conviction wins the election for Joe Biden by any stretch of the imagination. What do you think the overall impact will be? I'll give you the last word.
Minimal. I think you're absolutely right. It's going to be the price of gas. It's going to be the price of groceries, the price of insurance. Mortgage rates continue at slightly over 7%. Young families can't go out and buy their first home. They can't trade up. They're getting hammered. The purchasing power of their paycheck is going down each and every day. It's 1992 all over again. It's the economy. It's my pocketbook and those kinds of issues. There will be more surprises. We've got a sentencing phase going to go on. Biden will do everything he can, and his team will do everything that they can to move the discussion away from their disasters here domestically, at the border, Middle East, in Ukraine. They don't want to talk about that. They want to make this election about Donald Trump.
They certainly do. Pete Hoekstra, always a good conversation, sir. Thank you for being here.
Always good to be with you. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Pete. Remember, election officials and dedicated friends and neighbors are the ones that keep Michigan's elections safe and secure. They ensure votes are counted accurately through public testing of voting machines, confirming voter eligibility, and more. Learn more at MISecureElections.com, MISecureElections.com.